What it's like to be every level of someone living a double life level one. The first lie? It starts with something small. A story you told because the truth was inconvenient. A version of yourself you presented to the wrong person at the wrong time. You didn't plan it. You didn't sit down and decide to become two people. It just happened, the way most dangerous things do. Quietly and then all at once. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's money you're not supposed to have. Maybe it's a life you built in a city where nobody knows your real name. It doesn't matter yet. What matters is that the lie worked. That's the part nobody warns you about. The first lie working is the most dangerous moment of your entire life. Because when it works, your brain files it away, stores it, labels it useful. You're not a criminal. You're not a sociopath. You're just someone who found a gap between who you are and who people think you are and stepped into it. You still feel it, though, at dinner, in the car, right before you fall asleep. A low behind everything. Not guilt exactly, more like awareness. You are holding something fragile, and you have to keep holding it perfectly or it breaks. You tell yourself it's temporary. Everyone at level 1 tells themselves that. Level 2, the architecture. The first lie needs a second lie to survive. You didn't expect that, but here you are, building. A story to explain where you were. A reason for the number you deleted. A version of Tuesday that doesn't match what actually happened on Tuesday. This is where most people stop. The maintenance cost feels too high. The anxiety starts bleeding into everything. Your sleep, your appetite, your ability to hold eye contact. You catch yourself pausing before you answer simple questions. You rehearse things. You start remembering which version of a story you told to which person. But you don't stop. You adjust. You get organized. Not because you're calculating, but because you have to be. Chaos gets people caught. Inconsistency gets people caught. You start treating your double life the way a contractor treats a building, with structure, with load-bearing walls, with systems. You have 2 phones, or you know exactly when to clear one. You have explanations prepared before anyone asks. You have timelines that don't contradict each other. You create routines inside each life that make both feel normal to the people watching. The people in life know a version of you. The people in life know a different version. Neither version is entirely false. That's the part that surprises you. Both versions feel real when you're inside them. You start to notice something. The switching isn't painful anymore. It's almost seamless. You step out of one life and into the other the way you step out of a car. A brief moment of adjustment. Then you're moving again. You're not proud of this, but you're good at it. And being good at something is its own kind of momentum. Level 3, the compartments. By now, you don't think of it as lying. You think of it as management. You have compartmentalized your entire existence into sections that never touch. Family, work, the other thing, the other person, the other account. Each compartment has its own rules, its own emotional register, its own version of you. You've learned something that takes most people decades to understand. Identity is contextual. You are never just one thing. Everyone performs slightly different versions of themselves depending on who's in the room. You've just taken that further than most. The exhaustion is real, but manageable. You've built recovery time into your schedule. Sunday afternoons belong to one life. Wednesday evenings belong to the other. You move between them with the practiced ease of someone who has done this long enough that the seams have mostly disappeared. Your memory has sharpened, not because you're smarter, but because you've had to be. You remember what you told your brother about where you were in March. You remember which name you used when you booked that flight. You remember the specific word someone used so you can mirror it back accurately the next time. You've also started reading people differently. You notice when someone is probing versus genuinely curious. You notice micro-expressions. You notice when a question is casual and when it's a test. You become, without intending to, an excellent reader of human behavior. This is a side effect nobody talks about. Living a double life doesn't just change who you are. It changes how you see everyone else. You start to wonder what compartments they have, what they're managing, what the gap is between their public face and the thing they don't say. You trust no one completely. You can't, because you know how easy it is to present a face that isn't the whole truth. Level 4, the professional. Something has shifted. You're no longer maintaining the double life. You're operating it. There's a difference. Maintaining is reactive. Operating is intentional. You don't scramble anymore. You plan. You've moved past survival mode into something that feels disturbingly like mastery. You clear $60,000 a year from the part of your life that doesn't exist on paper. Or you build a relationship that has lasted 4 years without a single collision between worlds. Or you've held a position, professional, social, institutional, that depends entirely on a version of yourself you constructed from scratch. You have protocols now. If something unexpected happens, a phase from life A appearing in territory that belongs to life B, you have a response ready, not rehearsed out loud, just ready. Your nervous system has recalibrated. Where there used to be panic, there's now a cold, fast calculation. What do I know? What do they know? What's the fastest path through this? People in your life, both lives, describe you as calm, reliable, steady under pressure. They don't know that you've been under pressure. So long it no longer registers as pressure. It just registers as Tuesday. You start to feel something that unsettles you more than the guilt ever did. Pride, not in the dishonesty, but in the execution, in the complexity you're managing, in the fact that you built something almost no one could build and kept it standing this long. You push that feeling down, but it comes back. Level 5, the cost. This is a level where something breaks. Not the double life. Not yet. Something inside it. Something you didn't budget for. Maybe it's someone you care about in life, asking you a question, and you watch yourself answer smoothly, fluently, without hesitation, and you realize you felt nothing. No conflict. No discomfort. The lie landed like breathing. And that scares you more than getting caught ever has. Or maybe it's that you start to forget which details belong to which world. Not dangerously. Not in a way anyone notices. But you catch yourself, for half a second, unsure which story you told. You cover it, but you notice the gap. The toll is quiet. It comes through in small things. You drink more or you sleep less. You're present in every room, but fully in none of them. The people who love you, in both lives, sometimes look at you with this expression you can't quite name, like they're trying to find something in your face and can't locate it. What they're looking for is you, the version that isn't performing. You've started to wonder if that version still exists, or if you've been in character so long that the character is all there is. This is the level where people leave the game, not because they get caught, because they get tired. The weight of total awareness, the permanent vigilance, the constant management of reality. It's not sustainable indefinitely. Something has to give, but you don't leave because the thought of collapsing it, of having every compartment open at once, of every person in every world seeing every piece of you simultaneously, that feels worse than the weight, so you carry it. Level 6, the architect. You've stopped thinking about the double life as something you're hiding. You now think of it as something you built. There's a distinction. One implies shame. The other implies authorship. And at this level, you've chosen authorship. You refined every system. You've eliminated every unnecessary risk. The people around you in both worlds operate on the information you've given them, which means you're not just managing a double life. You're managing perception at scale. You decide what is real for the people around you, not maliciously, structurally. You've also begun protecting the double life from the inside. You've created distance from anyone who asks too many questions. You've cultivated relationships that are warm but boundaried. People who feel close to you but actually only see the surface you've designed for them. You become very easy to like, very hard to know. New people come into your orbit and they're drawn to you. The confidence, the steadiness, the way you always seem to know exactly who you are. They don't know that what they're reading as certainty is actually control. You know who you are in this room, with these people, at this time. You prepared. The double life has made you magnetic in a way you never expected. Because you've learned more deeply than almost anyone that identity is a performance. And you've rehearsed yours more than anyone in the room. At level 6, you have assets in both worlds. Relationships, resources, reputation. You've stopped thinking about exit strategies because an exit would mean choosing one life and destroying the other. And you've been in both long enough that both feel real, both feel like yours. The choice is no longer possible, which means you're not managing a temporary situation anymore. You are this. Level 7, the ghost. People in both of your lives have started to feel it without being able to name it, that you're not quite present, that there's a layer of glass between you and every genuine moment, that something about you is off, not wrong, not suspicious, just somehow untouchable. You become extraordinarily skilled at the performance of closeness. You know how to make someone feel seen. You know the questions to ask, the moments to be quiet, the specific gestures that read as intimacy. You've used them so many times they become automatic. Intimacy as muscle memory. But you feel it from the inside. The distance. There's a version of your life where none of this happened. A version where you made a different decision at level 1, and the second life never started. You think about that version sometimes. Not with regret exactly. More with a clinical curiosity. Who would that person be? What would they know? What would they have missed? You don't let yourself stay there long. At level 7, the double life is no longer the most dangerous thing you manage. The most dangerous thing you manage is your own psychology, the tendency toward dissociation, the reflexive withholding, the way you've trained yourself out of vulnerability so thoroughly that you can't locate it anymore, even when you want to. You have everything you built, both lives, both worlds. The architecture is nearly perfect. You are almost entirely alone, not physically. You're surrounded by people in both directions. But the person those people are surrounding, the actual you, the one that knows all of it, that person has no one. You made sure of it. Level 8, the other side of everything. There's no dramatic moment at level 8. That's the part nobody imagines when they think about how this ends. They think revelation, confrontation, collapse. They picture the moment the two worlds collide. The phone call, the accidental meeting, the document found in the wrong drawer. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. Either way, you're still here. At level 8, you have outlasted your own story. The double life is no longer something you maintain. It's something you inhabit. It has been running so long, under so many layers of architecture, that it operates almost without your constant intervention. You build it to last. And it has. You move through both worlds now with a kind of eerie fluency. You're not performing anymore. There's no behind the performance anymore. There's only the performance. The double life has hollowed out the space where a single self used to live and filled it with something more durable and less warm. You are very successful by most visible measures. You have resources in both directions. Respect, history, the kind of reputation that takes decades to build. People who have known you for years believe they know you well. None of them are wrong. None of them are right. You sit in a room, one room in one life, on one ordinary evening, and you are aware, as a low constant fact, that everything around you is built on a foundation that runs all the way down, that the person in this chair is a function of a decision made so long ago you can barely remember the original shape of yourself before it. You're not haunted. You're past haunted. You're something quieter than that, something that has accepted the shape of the thing it became. There's no regret at this level, not because you're a monster, because regret requires believing you could have chosen differently at every junction. And when you look back, every level looks like the only available step. The first lie worked, so you told the second. The second held, so you built architecture. The architecture held, so you made it a system. The system ran, so you became the person running it. It was never a choice at any single point. It was a direction. And now you're here, on the other side of everything, fully present in a life that is entirely constructed, aware of every brick, the only person who has ever seen the whole building. You close your eyes. You open them. There's nothing to do but continue. Somewhere tonight, someone is telling their first lie. It's small, forgettable. They already half believe it themselves. They don't know they're at level 1. They don't know what level 1 is the beginning of, but the architecture is already forming, one wall at a time.